Hi, my name is Conroy, and my capstone project was drifting in Forza Horizon 5. I did this project because all my friends were playing it, and I really wanted to learn what cars are all about and how to drive them, which is why I did drifting in the first place, because it takes a lot more skill to learn to drive sideways than just to drive straight. So I thought it would get me a lot farther than just learning how to drive. Uh, so I did start this because all my friends were playing Forza Horizon 5 at the time, and I also knew it would help me while trying out other games similar to that. My friend Xander, who was also my mentor, also had a lot of experience with building cars and racing. Um, Not only that, but also with motorbikes. So during the start of my project, it was basically just learning about different parts and how to drive in the first place. I'd been playing it for a long time before that, since Forza Horizon 2 in particular. But I only really played on the easy setting, and I wasn't really focused on learning how to play it at the time. So the first thing I had to do was learn about different parts, like the difference between a turbo and a supercharger, or what a rear wing would do for my downforce, for example. So that was pretty much where I was starting off. Uh, I was also gradually learning about different brands, uh, and I was also getting into more of the car culture uh, type of stuff, mainly because all my friends were already into it, and they kind of taught me, what the most popular cars were, what people would usually put for designs on it, that stuff. So then around the middle, I started trying to tune, which is getting further into adjusting your parts. For example, it would be like making your wheels farther apart, or slightly adjusting how fast your car can go just by gradually changing it. Um, and at that time, I was also starting to try drifting and really learn how that worked. It was definitely a lot different. I had a little bit of experience with actually using different parts, but it was a much easier formula. Uh, since when I started this project, the fourth game was the most recent. I was using a really complicated formula for pretty much everything that I had on my car. And then when the fifth game came out, it kind of got simpler, but you could make bigger changes to it overall. And by the end, it was pretty much just practicing over and over. I probably made around 50 cars in Forza Horizon 5 since it released. And then I would just go up and down mountains, around different kinds of turns, just so that I could really learn how it worked. Uh, I was also trying to figure out what kinds of cars I preferred to drive, whether it was going to be 600 horsepower or 800 horsepower, and it was really just about getting it down and really learning how to drift properly. What I was doing while I was practicing was watching a lot of Hooky Hoshi and Deoxide. Uh, Hoki Hoshi had a lot of good videos that I used for tuning and different kinds of cars because while I was learning it, I learned how to make different kinds, whether it was an off road, rally, specific like a race car. So I was trying to do a little bit of everything while focusing on the drifting. And then there comes learning manual, which was, I believe, like one of the first things that I did. And it took me quite a while to get down. Mainly because there's a big difference between when you're regularly driving and when you're drifting. When you are drifting, it kind of acts as a meter for how fast you're allowed to go. If you're in third gear, you might only allowed to be going 150 kilometers per hour, for example. And that can make a really big difference depending on what turn you're in. If it's a larger turn, you might want to be in fourth gear. If you're in a smaller turn, you want to be in second gear. And aside from that, it was really just going and driving around for like hours at a time. Uh, Back near the start of the project, I was on there for almost an hour every day, just driving around, finding different spots that I could drift on. And it was me and my friend doing tandems a lot of the time, just trying to get it down so that we could make tiny adjustments while we were drifting. But eventually, in the end, I was able to figure out how everything worked, and it went well. I believe that I'm at a really good point for switching to other games. For example, I've been playing Gran Turismo, and I've been in VR doing that, so I'm kind of learning how to actually do it without just being on a screen, for example. Also, I believe that I kind of got this done a lot quicker than I was supposed to. I was probably at the point where I could just do it easily maybe 6 months ago from the time I'm recording this video. So it didn't take me long enough to learn how to do it. That was probably because I was a lot more into it back then, though. And lately I've started to kind of branch out and play different games.